How are we going, everyone? We're in the little native section here. I planted this out about a year ago. They're all little tube stocks, and you can see they've taken off. Grevilleas, pigface, correas, westringias, callistemons. There's some flax there, dietes, which are weeds anyway, but I'm planting some more grevilleas. This one here in particular I love. I've fallen in love with it. Lemon cream, I think it's called, something like that. It only grows about 1 metre high, a couple of metres round, so it'll fill up this space just perfectly for me. Now the correa here, you know, I've learned something about rabbits. They love correas. I keep putting a fence around this and it gets blown away, so obviously I'm not doing it right. But look at all this here. See all this? These are holes from the rabbits. They're digging it over for me. So they're actually composting the soil for me at the same time. I hate the holes, but when I backfill them again with the mulch mixed through it, it's good for the microbes. So it actually aerates the soil for me and gives the plants a better chance to grow their roots. So we're going to plant the grevillea here. I haven't picked anything else. I actually got more grevilleas to go over there, and I'm going to put a tall one over here, maybe a Robin Gordon or something that'll grow nice and high because we've got this open space there, which is okay, but I don't mind having a few bigger trees. And over here, we want to screen the backside here, so I've got another grevillea. I've forgotten the full name of it, Hookeriana, I think it's called. It grows to about 2 metres tall. 2 metres tall, 1.5, 2 metres, about 4 metres round. So it'll be perfect to fill this space. The rabbit warren. This is where all the action is, folks. So we're going to slowly try and eradicate the rabbits, and the dogs are here waiting for them to pop out, but they're not going to do anything like that. And we've got some westringias going down the side there, so they're a great shrub plant, or I suppose hedging plant. These ones aren't going to be hedged, obviously. We're just going to try and fill up the boundary there to cut the wind out, because we've got the tall trees, but the understory, it's open and we're getting a lot of wind crossing through. So let's plant over here. I started digging the hole here already. I'm putting a westringia there. It's actually called here we go, lemon days. That's what it's called, so if you're wondering what it is, beautiful, look at this beautiful flower. I love the wildlife that come in here, folks. We've got so many different birds coming through the place. Forget about the rabbits, but the birds, the wildlife, it's amazing. It's just beautiful to be outside. I know, it's lockdown, sorry. Anyway, we started to dig a hole. I'm using my digging spade. It's not as wide as your typical spades or shovels you can have, but it does pick up a good amount of soil. Now, the aim with the hole, I cut square holes. I don't cut round holes, folks. And the reason for that is I try to trick the roots into growing through the walls. So this is very sandy, this soil here. We've got a lot of sand. If you get about 400 mil, 500 mil below, it starts to turn into clay. So this is a square hole. And because they're natives, you don't need to do a hell of a lot with it. Honestly, you don't. You can mix some compost if you like through it. I personally don't. Not here, I haven't. Depending on the soil, if you've got really bad clay soil, you need to put some aeration through it. Yeah, put some mulch in, dig some of this mulch into it, some compost. All I'm going to do, in my case, because it's sandy loam, is a small handful of worm castings, sprinkle it around like that. Or maybe 2 handfuls. It's a typical Greek thing, one's never enough. And when it comes to black grit, it's natural forming phosphate, so it has got phosphate in it. It's not a synthetic form, and when it comes to natives, they don't like phosphate, but look, the earth has got phosphate in it naturally, and this is what that is. That's a natural forming phosphate, calcium silicate. So when we fertilise our garden beds, I say about a handful or 2 per square metre. With natives, you just put a little bit less. It's not quite a handful, it's half a handful, and just sprinkle it around. Look, the wind's taken all that away, so let me just put a little bit more. And that's all I'm doing here. I can turn all this. You can, if you want to, be pedantic, and I shouldn't say pedantic, if you want to, you can heap this soil that you've dug out of the ground to the side and mix it through. I've probably planted about 1 million plants in my life, and this is what I do now. I've gone away from mixing my compost on the side, doing a perfect blend. I mix it as I start throwing it back in, and I actually sneak in a little bit of the bark as well. So if you've got surrounding bark or composting material that's on the surface, just mix that into the soil that you've put around the sides there, and as you're pushing it back in, that's your aeration. Naturally, over time, it'll break down, it'll re-solidify or turn into sandy loam again. That's what happens. It's natural forming sandy loam soils, and for those who live in the sandy areas with sandy soil, you know exactly what I mean. When you're adding compost, after 3 weeks or 3 months, it's disappeared, it's back to sand again. You need to put truckloads of that stuff to actually get some body and texture into the soil. And it works exactly the same way for clay soil. So whether you got clay or sand, the treatment of both types of soil is exactly the same. The difference is clay is a lot harder to work with. You've got a lot more elbow grease to put into it to get it to break down, whereas sandy loam, you see, it just moves. It's like beach sand. You move it around really freely. Now, with pot plants as well, if they're pot bound, and this is beautiful, nearly there, look at that. We've got root systems starting to curl back up. So they've grown through, hit the base, starting to curl around. And this is what I mean about a square hole. See how this is wrapping itself around continuously? It'll continuously wrap itself around until it strangles itself if you leave it in the pot for too long. That's called a pot bound plant. You can, if you like, tease a base out like that. Just break those little crowns you got at the bottom from the pot shape. That's all it is need to do. Some people like to sever off the whole thing from the bottom, break it away completely and tease it out, so you stress the plant to go and start growing new roots. If you're not careful with how you do it, you can actually cause the plant to go backwards. And if you do cut off too much of the root ball, you're going to have to cut half the plant off the top to compensate for the damage you've caused at the base. If it's a pot bound plant, but in this case here, really it's not that pot bound. It's fine. All it needs is water around the base and it'll be fine. It'll start growing its roots. Now, backfilling, real simple. Just push it back in like this. And most times this is what I do, folks. I'm trying to be polite here. This is how I backfill my holes. Yeah, a little bit rough and ready. That's what happens after 20, 30 years of gardening. I wish I was only 20 or 30 years old. Now, you can press it down if you like, but that really depends on the type of soil you have. You got a very aquaphobic or hydrophobic soil, pressing it down is just going to make it worse. So if you can, just leave it loose, if you're not sure that is, and then when you water it in, the soil will over time compact on its own. Another thing to factor in here is the size of the plant. This is a 10-inch pot plant. It's come from my mate from Top 10 Trees on the other side of town, mind you. Lucky you got him here just in time. When you're planting something large, if it's in a wind-prone area, you might need to stake it. 1 or 2 stakes, and maybe that is another segment I can do later on. How to stake trees or plants. The different ways you can stake them: close up, triangular form, single, doubles, figure 8 knots, or wrap around with a Velcro tie, things like that. And that's it. Now, all we've got to do is give it a good water, so I'm adding a little bit of Eco Butcher Liquid Gold, folks. And that's what you do with every plant. So as soon as you finish planting, give it a good soak with a liquid fertilizer just to stimulate it and get it ready to grow for spring. A good soaking is all it needs. Straight over the top. You can do the surrounding soil if you want to spend a bit more time with it in watering it. Just giving it a good hydration. Now folks, you can find all this wonderful stuff on our website, vasilisgarden.com. We're talking worm castings, black grit, liquid gold, Eco Butcher, and lots more great products for you to be able to enjoy and apply into your own garden, so your plants can have a great chance growing big and healthy and strong every season of the year. Not just springtime, every season of the year. And we are running our up to 70% off. We're going to keep extending it, I think, because of the lockdown. It's just going to make it easier for people to be able to shop and save a few bucks while they're doing it. So up to 70% off everything online, and the coupon code SECRET gives you an extra 20% off. And before I forget, our spring edition magazine's coming out in September. It's our 30th edition, so we're celebrating 30 magazines and we're giving 30 reward points back into your account. So if you sign up to the magazine, you become a VIP member automatically, and you get 30 reward points added to your account, valued at $30 when you redeem them at full price, when the product's at full price. And so get online, subscribe to the magazine. You'll get your first edition delivered to your door in springtime. You also get access to the 29 back issues. So you get to read all the 29 back issues that we produced. They're available online. Plus you get 4 new ones delivered to your door, and you get access to our TV shows, all our previous TV shows. There's dozens of them on our website in the VIP lounge, and your discounts all throughout the year as well. So, and you go into the draw for the major prize. I nearly forgot. So we're going to be drawing three prizes in spring, and we hold 4 competitions per year, so every subscription gets 4 opportunities to win a prize, one of 3 prizes drawn 4 times a year. So there's great benefits to be a part of it. Join our VIP club, this Vasilis Garden magazine, that's Garden to Kitchen, and enjoy some shopping online. From me, Vasili Maresi, that's vasilisgarden.com. Got a bit of work here now.